Hey YouTube, today is January 29th, 2021, and we just got a new FFF from Factorio.com. This will be number 364. If you like these sort of reviews, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like on this video. If you have a question or a comment, leave it in the comment section below. Everything I talk about will be linked in the description. So with that, let's get to the video. All right, FFF number 364 1.1 is stable. This one will be from Covarex, Clonin, Boskid, and Arsed. All right, from Covarex, 1.1 is stable. Hello, we have a stable version. Here we go. High res. That lighting. It's a thing, man. We were releasing 1.0 FFF. That was number 360. We actually stated that there would be around 150 bugs on the forums and 80 internal tasks to be solved. These were obviously minor issues, things hard to reproduce, very rare problems. In other words, we were quite reasonably stable, which normally goes without saying when it comes to Factorial stable versions, but it proved to be a massive mistake. Wording it this way, some media picked up on it and presented a fairly bugged release. Whatever. A fairly bugged release. A bunch of bugs for the Woob crew would be considered minor issues for other dev houses. Let's level set here, right? These guys are pros, and their definition of a bugged release is way more stringent than anyone else's, I would just say. So Covarex says, I'm pretty thrilled to finally get to this point where we actually have 0 known issues and 0 active bug reports on the forums. It's like cleaning the kitchen properly. That's right. So you can start cooking something fresh. More about that next week. Wow. What's this? Cooking something fresh. Okay, for now, we want to get over some of the features in 1.1 that you might have missed if you've been sticking with the stable 1.1. Now, this is a good one. Clonin talks about the blueprint flip. It was requested a lot of the years, and we always said no. The reason being, not everything can flip. Things like oil recipes, rail signals, pump jacks, etc. All right, they have asymmetries. They are not chiral. There's a $4 word. If you flipped a blueprint with these entities, the result would be non-functional, and in the best case would cause complete chaos in others. That's right. This has been a good one, but then Covarex was playing and really wanted to just copy and flip his train unloading setup. Just your typical inserters and chests. This is very common. And so he decided to add it, prevented the flip problems by just disallowing flipping blueprints that wouldn't flip properly. How about that? Look there. Yeah. There we go. That's good. Is there no control in that? It's also a there's a left-right version of this, I think, and then an up-down version of it. I think it's hotkey configurable now, which is pretty great. Here we go, Spidertron control. We added a few last-minute changes, says Clonin. Nice to have features to the spiders for 1.1. This is an addition to the things that we demonstrated on FFF 362. Spider waypoints. This is a big one. My buddy Rain really likes waypoints on troops, on clumps of troops in any game. It's super frustrating to type, trying to navigate our quite watery playtesting map with the spiders. This would always get caught on the edge of some leak. Yes, it would. Queuing move commands seemed to be like a pretty obvious fix. It wasn't that much work in the end. There you go. And go over cliffs too. Yeah, you see the waypoints. I think it's like a shift click, you know. Veldak will be very happy to know that this spider follow command is now in, says Clonin. Another frustration was trying to control multiple spiders in combat. The remote works fine for a handful of spiders. Once you get into double digits, managing the spider remotes and spiders was just a hassle. So alongside the waypoints, Covarex added the feature of letting spiders follow entities and even other spiders. That's a big one. What Veldak would do was he would make his own spider, and then he'd make 10 other ones, and then have all of them follow him. So there's these 11 spiders all just nuking everything going across the board. Mostly PLDs, the lasers. Smart belt building. Much controversy about this one. Clonan says that with the lane locked belt added in 1.1.1 or 1.1.0, there is some wonky, undefined behavior rotating with related to rotating the belt while building. So he fixed a bug by extending the feature set of belt building along with the new smart belt building. So you just start dragging the belt along. You don't have to R and rotate it. You just start kind of drag 2 clicks in a different direction, and it'll put the curve in there automatically. That's pretty neat. And with a great feature, we give ourselves the opportunity to do a little feature creep. Yep. She had the anti-frustration of the automatic underground belt. I kind of don't like this one. My MO for these undergrounds is not to just have one underground. I want my undergrounds to be, or one space underground. I want my undergrounds to be stretched to the maximum if I place one. The issue is the undergrounds are expensive compared to the belt, and graphically you can have you can avoid a lot of it over time in your a lot of your FPS issues over time in your Megabase if you just put all of your belts underground. You don't have to render those. There's lots of assumptions that you can have the server make, and ergo it's easier on FPS, but very much easier on UPS. If you have a long string of 8 belts and you turn those 8 belts into a long string of 8 underground, just miles of undergrounds, it's just better. It just works better. It's leaner. That's what we want to do for those. But I'm not a fan of this. I mean, yes, it is handy, and I like it for newer players. But for my builds, I always correct this. Boskid says multi-threaded. Wow, nice. This is good. This is good news, everybody. In the concept battle with the optimizations, let players build bigger bases. Quite often we do small changes that give performance gains in the range of 1 to 2%. Recently, I started looking at the possibility of multi-threading the transport belt logic. Well, what happened was I thought someone on Reddit said, hey, by the way, I reprogrammed Factorio and I multi-threaded it. And everyone went, look, what was it? What did he say? What did he say? He multi-threaded it? And apparently that solved an issue. I bet you that was the inception of this. This is one of the more significant performance drains, and is still being done single-threaded, resulting in huge potential performance gains. This is pretty big, all right? Transport belts were already quite optimized. Yep, number 176. I think this was, I bet you this is Arced's array and assumption one where he just took, you know, chunks and chunks of UPS off of all the belts by putting them into I guess it's like assumptive arrays, I guess you'd say, where if you could fill a belt, fill a giant section chunk of a belt, it takes almost no UPS to move it along. If there was anything missing from those pieces of the belt, then it starts doing some calculations as standard. So full belts are the way to do it. One could simply say make it multi-threaded, but there are a lot of technical challenges to solve before this is even possible in order not to cause any issues when running in multiplayer. Basically, to ensure it will still be deterministic. Okay. All right, trying to do naive? Does it mean native multi-threading with all the transport belts? Transport lines being updated at the same time doesn't work in Figure 1. Depending on which transport line will be updated first, a copper plate would land before or after the iron plate. Uh-huh. This could be fixed by using all sorts of synchronization primitives, but using them would increase the complexity of the code to the point where no one would want to maintain it. would want to maintain and mainly would not guarantee the code would be faster or would not desync. All right, transport line groups. After some observation, notice a trivial fact: not all transport lines can interact with each other. Right, so I guess blue and white never interacts with the top blue. In Figure 2, the transport line on the horizontal belts can never receive items, right? Never sees items from the right line of the horizontal belts of any items of side loading. Right. This gave me a simple, nice idea. We can transport lines in a way that lines from one group don't interact with any lines from the other group. Oh, yeah, then you can multi-thread them, right? We could avoid all synchronization logic between the transport lines. When one thread updates one group, other groups can be updated by other threads independently. Each color is a group of transport lines. Each group is updated in parallel. Oh, neato. Oh, a wake-up list. Okay, by far the largest issue we face with the transport lines aren't entirely independent. We have a sleep wake-up mechanism in the game since version 0.9. It goes like this. So inserters taking belts may become inactive when there is nothing happening, right? So nothing, active. So you see it going active, right? Okay, nothing happening on both transport lines to save UPS. Right, an inactive inserter would be stuck on its own in that position, and there would not be any way to wake it up. In this case, the inserter registers on the transport line. So when a new item comes, it can be woken up to check if it needs to pick up any items. Since the two transport lines going through a single belt belong to different groups, those groups are not independent because both would try and wake up, put to sleep the same inserter. Right, in that case, the inserter becomes the shared state for both groups and has to be properly dealt with. So is this live now? Because I did not, I guess I wouldn't notice it unless I would have I was doing a big mega base with, yeah, unless I was doing a big mega base with a ton of belts, I may not notice it. I guess the biggest mega base I do is a interactive base on Mondays, and I'm using mostly bots. I got 26,000 bots in the air, right? Transport lines cannot simply wake up that inserter because it's woken up by other thread. Activation under order is important. It also defines the order in which it will be updated. If inserters would activate in a different order, desyncs would happen, right? The threads don't wake up the entities immediately, but instead add the thread wake up request to a list to be processed later. Oh, so the near one could wake it up or the far one could wake it up. After all the threads are done, the main thread collects and merges those requests and wakes up the entities in deterministic way based on the group update order that number. Okay. The wake up lists and other similar cases handled properly, I started comparing some belt-based megabases was capable of producing 10K science a minute. Transport belt times dropped from 4 milliseconds to 4 to 1.6. Holy crap, 20 to 40% improvement gain? Whoo, that's going to be great. Yeah, we saw this one drop in too. The new train overview GUI from Clone in the beginning. The original trains GUI was added in 0.13. 13, and they only had cosmetic changes all the way to, I guess, to this one. So let's look at the first one. You just had these, you know, this picture of where the trains were and where they were going. There's the version 17, which really didn't have an update. It was more of a just the GUI and kind of the container, I guess. And now this one has mode updates, but actually the other train list is what's really, really good, right? The basic design is it's a list of all trains. You can set this. You can see a schedule. You can click on the button to open the train. You can search by schedule. Yeah, that the ability to look through all the trains and the stations now is pretty awesome. The old days, the mindset was the players would just have a few trains or 10 to 20 max, so we didn't really see the need to categorize them as much. Yeah, that's 10 to 20 max in an extreme case. What? I mean, those of you who've been with us for a long time, what do we... 300 is kind of an average base that we get to. Yeah. 64K ought to be enough for anybody. The problem with time, the game evolved, factories were growing. Subsequently, the trains kept going up. The insufficiency of the GUI became clear during our 1.1 playtesting. We played for a whole week and extensively used train limits. We had over 100 trains and 200 train stops. Easy. Easy. That is a weekly occurrence, right? Did anybody open the train GUI even once? And the answer was no. Of course not, right? Yeah, you go click on it. You find the station, click on the station, and then backtrack from that. Right. While playtesting, also became highly familiar with what features I wish the train GUIs had, and the question should answer. How many trains do we have? Yes. That's a big one, because I want to count all the time, because I get that question from chat or from you, and they say, man, it sure is a lot of trains. How many do you have? And okay, let's look at count the rows. There's six, they're what, six wide? Yeah. Or no, 5 wide. I got to go, okay. All right, 5, 10, 15, 20, scroll. 25, 30, 35, 40, scroll. 45, 50, 55, 60, scroll. Right? And I got to count them. How many stops, right? What's the cumulative train limit? All the stops of a certain name. How many iron stops do I have? Right? How many paxes do I have? Am I keeping up with demand for a given item? Mainly, do I have enough stops for this route? I got to work on the train GUI. Who's this? Oh, cloning. Yep. The new train, see, this is your jam. This tab, the stations, that's what I want right there. That was the jam, right? To be able to see the number of stations and all of that, and look at what Clonin does. He does what we do. He drops in nice names and icons and all that, so you can search on them. Started by making a mock-up mod in Lua. It allowed me to quickly iterate on the design content much faster than C++ would allow. After 2 days, I basically had finalized design ready. After we reviewed the mock-ups, we agreed it would be a massive improvement to decide to make it properly. I took it as Christmas homework to write the new train GUI in the engine in C++. Programming wasn't much of my area of expertise. He was hired as a marketing guy. He's a mod maker. After the new year, it was ready, so we did the usual QA and released it in 1.18. Yep, it was great. There are 2 tabs in the trains GUI. Each follows a simple but meaningful design principle. Trains tab, a list of trains categories by their schedule. A stations tab. Stations tab, stations tab. That's the jam. That's the one I like. A list of train stops categories by their name, because now with the train stop limit, you no longer have to have iron 1, iron 2, iron 3. You can just have iron drop off, iron pick up, and you can just add trains. That's the jam. You also no longer need a stacker. It might be good to have a stacker, so you have a train that is waiting to immediately step in, unless you have, I don't know, you play with a mod that makes your train super fast. Then you don't really even need a stacker, because the train will be there real quick. This is really nice looking. I do like this, and it's good. It's good to know that Clonin did all this. This is great. This was his holiday. I would say the most controversial part here is removing the schedule display under each train map, right? And replacing it with a state description button with the schedule displayed on the side. Most completely redundant. Is almost completely redundant information. This is good. It was much more precise and relevant information. You can see which stop it's going to, how far away it is. Did I notice? Did I know that? Huh. And also click on the state button to open the map. Oh, okay. Yeah, the train stop it's going to. Nice thing is, whenever you have something wrong or inconsistent schedule, you could easily notice it on this list. That is correct. Since the stations tab is completely new, there are no changes that people disagree with it. That's right. If it's new, then screw you. You didn't have it before. It's like getting a gift card and you don't know how much is on it. Well, it's more than I had right now. Even if it's $0, you don't even know, right? If it's $1.40, it's $1.40 than I had 5 minutes ago, right? Hey, it's new stuff, right? No one can disagree with it. That's actually hilarious. And a great statement from Clone. The aim with this tab was to try and present the information about the train limit of each station in some easy to digest way. It actually did need the train stop limit, right? That's true. Yeah. So the remark in the form of reservations train limit station state. When I look at the drop-off pickup in a single product, I can easily identify three things. Number one, not enough trains. When the reservations is too low for the train limit, or not, and then I can add some more trains. Not enough input. When almost all the trains in the pickup are waiting to be loaded, you can see when basically you have a base bottleneck when you are when your trains are either supply or demand imbalanced or backed up. When the reservation equals the train limit, in the drop off, where there's so many trains just waiting to go, right? And actually, if you think about it, this is where you want it, because remember, as we talked about, most of the time, at least in the old school method, most of the time in a train's life will be spent waiting to either dropping off or waiting to drop off, either when the inventory is cleared or waiting for the next train. It should spend most of its time on the supply side, or on the supply, yeah, on the demand side. And then this mother trucker right here, save game speed. I don't know. I guess it does matter in the mega base stage. I never really notice it until our base gets too big. I guess this is in that bucket of features I didn't know I needed, right? Like the train reservation system, right? There are many things Factorio have optimized over the years. That's right. Runtime performance, startup time, saving, loading, even quit speed. Screw this game! I can't get out of it fast enough. Okay. It gets more difficult to find anything to improve on without changing game features, which I mostly try and avoid. Autosave time has been one of those I wish I could be faster, but never finding anything that stuck out, giving measurable proof. Several years ago, I parallelized. I think he's from the States. So look, I give some leeway for non-English speakers to start making up words, but I think Arsed should know better. To iterate, parallelize, iterate the game and compress and save to disk. However, there hasn't been any major improvements since then. The issue I would always run into is I could make one of those two processes faster. One of those two processes faster. The other always bottlenecks, so the overall speed didn't change. Every few months, I would go back to it and try to think of new ways to make it faster. We always ran into the same issue. Try it and see. So the other week, I was doing it again. I wondered how much faster the save process would be if I just pretend the compress and write to disk didn't happen. It turned out to be a lot. Oh. Larger save got the more time spent waiting on the compress and write to disk. After thinking for a while, I decided instead of save the map information in one big compressed file, split it into multiple compressed files. Hey, there you go. Now, a new concept. We hadn't done it before in Factorio. A quick 30-minute implementation later showed that it would, without a lot of changes, it just worked. All right. In result, it's the compress and write to disk. Parallel processing never blocked the main items. Iterate the game logic. That alone made the entire save process around 20% faster. That's pretty good. For 30 minutes, I mean, I guess leading up to all of that poking and prodding, but 30 minutes of implementation, But I only thought about it for 6 years, right? The entire process saved 20%. As a side result of any improvements I made to the main logic, direct further improvements. The testing I performed saw up to 2 times improvement save times. Bam! This is a great team, man. I like getting these sorts of updates. All of this is gold, man. The train UI is good. This multi-threading is bound to save us a ton of time, a ton of UPS. Oh yeah, I did it wrong. I gotta launch this rocket. This is pretty great, and we got a stable version. This is pretty good. We got to do the rocket. Ta-da! right, that is FFF 364, and it has been 2.5 months since we had our last one. So this is a great update. And then one of the things to key in on is that Kovarex said, quote, "It's like cleaning the kitchen properly so you can start cooking something fresh." More about that next week. What are they cooking fresh? It's gonna be great. Could be a DLC. Could be new features they got in the back of their mind. Could be 2.0. This team being together amidst much speculation is what do we do with this team? It's a team that is, by all accounts, hitting on all cylinders and very used to working with each other, very used to communicating with each other. They now know what they need to do to execute very well on development projects, right? You've heard Clonen and Kovarex talk about the approach to product, to feature releases. Went through a couple of changes. Well, now that it's all done, and they've matured to that point, it would be a shame to bust up this team, right? So, I mean, who knows, man? Sky's the limit for this group. They can kind of do whatever they want. So let's hope we're going to see some more great stuff out of this group. Thanks very much for watching this video. If you like this sort of thing, hit that like, subscribe, leave a comment section below, or if you have a question, also hit me up. You can join me 5-6 days a week on twitch.tv/ClownTown. Links in the description. Thanks very much. We'll see you next time.